Hello, welcome back to my channel. How's everyone doing? So today I kind of want to talk a little bit about a really good comment I had from a viewer on one of my last videos. And they were talking about having recently retired and feeling guilty and feeling lazy. And how do you get past that? So this is going to be, I think, personal for each one of us that retires. Now, this is whether you're retiring early or you're retiring at the general retirement ages, or whatever that is. I don't even know what it is. What is it? 62, 65, 67, whatever those are. And it's going to be unique to you. It's going to be unique to your individual circumstances. So, meaning, do you have a significant other, or are you single? Do you have children or grandchildren? What kind of environment do you live in? Do you live out in the country? Do you live in the city? What are your interests? What is your health status? There's a whole bunch of things that kind of go into this, but I just kind of want to talk about this in general because for me personally, I went through this as well. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Wendy, and I retired a year and 7 months ago now. So I retired at the age of 56, and now I'm 57. And what this, meant for me personally. So I am single. I don't have any children. Of course, that was all by choice. Yes, I'm very happy. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those things because there isn't. Everybody just makes their own choices in this life and does what they want to do. And no one has, in my humble opinion, any right to take that away from you. Your choice, you do what you want when it comes to those things. And I, of course, I don't think I felt lazy per se, but I did feel guilty. And I think that was just because I was so used to working for so many years. And now, when I was in college and when I was younger, I didn't have an 8 to 5, Monday through Friday job. I had a night job, I had an after school job, I had a weekend job, and I was always working. So when I went to college, I had 3 jobs because I had to pay for college, and I paid for college out of my own pocket. Nobody helped me. And I always had this crazy, weird schedule. But once I got into the workforce, I started to work the typical Monday through Friday. I just call it 8 to 5 job. And I did that for decades. So when you retire, you basically lose all of that structure, right? You don't have, okay, I've got to get up, I've got to get ready, I've got to go to work. So I either drive to work or commute somehow, depending on if you live in a city with trains and buses, whatever, or I work from home. And of course, my previous job before I retired, the job I retired from, was working from home, and I did that for 12 years, so I didn't have to commute. But it was the same structure every single day. And if I wanted to go to the doctor, or if I wanted to go to the chiropractor, if I wanted to do anything that needed to be done within that structure of Monday through Friday for those types of businesses, I had to, make room for that in my schedule and all of that kind of stuff. So once you retire, you lose that particular part of that structure from your life. And for me personally, I think let's just say the first 3 months, I was like, yay, this is so cool. I don't have to set my alarm anymore. That was one of the biggest things that I was super excited about, was not having to set that damn alarm clock every single day, just letting my cats wake me up. Now, obviously, I still have, one cat. My other one passed away a little over a year ago, but I still have Mozart. And yes, if any of you have pets, you know they are usually your personal alarm clock. So he wakes me up anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning. And that's perfectly fine because I try to go to bed at the same time every night, somewhere, and I mean lights out sleep, between 10 and 10:30 at the very latest. So I get my 8 hours of sleep in. But I lost all that other structure. So for me, feeling guilty was just randomly scheduling my chiropractor appointment at any time during the day and not trying to do it at a specific time every single time because I worked it around whatever was going on in my prior job. Now I could just schedule it whenever it worked with my chiropractor, and I continue to do so. And I always walk. I go outside and I walk. Well, when I was working, I had to do that either before work, which typically wasn't going to happen. I am not that person. Or it was after work. Okay, that was great. Well, now I can go for a walk whenever I want to. So I had that initial elation and that excitement and that joy of, yay, no schedule. It was like school was out for the summer, but it was a permanent thing. I could do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted to do it. If I wanted to go to the thrift stores, in the middle of the afternoon on a Wednesday, I could do it. I didn't have to ask permission to take off. I didn't have to ask permission to do anything anymore because there was nobody to ask permission of. It was just me doing my own thing. And then it was probably about 4 or 5 months into this early retirement of mine where I never felt lazy because that's just not who I am as a person personally. This is just my own personal experience. But I did start feeling guilty. And that was, oh my God, I retired before the norm. Oh my God, I just used air quotes too. I'm sorry about that. I can't. But anyway, I did feel guilty about that. I retired before the norm. And was that the right thing to do? I should be working alongside everybody else until they're one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. I should be working until I'm 65 or 67. And I would have that conversation with myself. And then I would feel silly for saying those things because I'm like, wait a second, who the hell set these rules, right? There's all these set rules that we have put forth to us on ourselves in society, and some of them are spoken, some of them are unspoken, and we feel like we need to kind of conform to them, the beat of my own drum, and do my own thing. But I just found it very interesting and very compelling that I had to break through some of those ideological, societal, boxes that we were put into. You can't retire before this age. You have to do this, you have to do that. And I was like, no, you don't. You're all unique individuals. We're all who we are, and we can do whatever we want in regard to, do you want to retire early? If you can, great. If you can't, well, then you can't. And everybody comes from different situations and different backgrounds. So that feeling guilty, oh yeah, I had to go through that. And I did go through that, you guys. It was, like I said, I felt like, oh my God, am I being foolish for retiring early? And I didn't think I was being lazy or anything like that. I just was thinking to myself, oh, I should have just kept working another year because of the money and blah, blah, blah. And then I think about that and I'm like, wait a second. Well, I have enough money, and if I need to make money, I know how to make money, but I don't need to go back to working a full-time job. And if that's something that you want to do, yeah, you can definitely do that. If you want to go work part-time, if you want to start a side hustle, start your own business, do whatever you want. You're free to move about, the plane, the seatbelt's off. You can do whatever you want. And that feeling guilty part, I think, is part of the process of retiring, whether you retire at 35, 45, 55, 65, or 75. I think that's part of the process for most of us. I don't think everybody's going to go through that, but I think most of us do go through that. So for me personally, it was about, I know this is going to sound strange, but it was about having conversations with myself and rationalizing, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling guilty? Or feeling guilty that I left unfinished business at my job, which I didn't. Did we still have clients? Of course we did, but that was my business. It wasn't like I left any of them hanging. What am I supposed to do? Keep working until they're no longer a client of ours? No, that's not how that works. Excuse me. So, all of these thoughts that came up and these feelings that came up, I just had to go through them one by one and say, okay, why am I acting this way? Why am I feeling this way? Or I retired before my older brother. Well, so that's not my problem, you know. He actually could retire, but he wants to keep working for another couple of years. He's also married, he also has 2 children, put through college, all of that stuff. Excuse me. I don't have any of that stuff, you know, with the marriage and the children or anything like that. So I have different not fiscal, sorry, financial um, things that I have to take care of versus my older brother, for example. And it's different, like I said, it's different for everyone. But I think you have to give yourself some breathing room. I'm not telling anybody what they have to do, how they have to feel, not to feel guilty or to feel guilty or anything like that, because this channel is not about telling people any of those things. What you need to do, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you should wear this shirt, you shouldn't wear that shirt, and blah blah, all of that. No, that is not how I roll. What I want to get across to people is, you work through what you've got to work through, however you need to work through it. If that means going to see a therapist, if that means just writing it down in a notebook or journaling, whatever you want to call it, if that means going back to work for a while and seeing, yeah, I made the right decision, or no, I'd rather be working, because that might be for some people. Maybe they just want to do that. I don't know. I would be interested to know what you guys think, what you guys feel. How many of you have retired, whether it's early or at the standard, you know, I can collect Social Security time? Did you go through that guilt trip of, you know, not having to set an alarm clock, or just not having to commute, or not having that schedule, and then figuring out what to do with your time? Setting your own boundaries, doing your own thing, picking up a hobby you haven't done in 30 years because, you know, work got in the way, or what we call adulting got in the way. Just all of that fun stuff. I'd really be interested to hear your stories and share your thoughts with others, because I think other people go in and read the comments in the comment section. I always read all of my comments, obviously, but I think other people do too, just to kind of, you know, see what else is going on, because we can all learn from each other and hopefully make this a good process if you retire early, or if you're just retiring, and feel good about that decision. You put the work in, right? We are not meant to work until we are in the grave. That is not what our life is about. We are supposed to be creative and fun and free individuals, and thinking new things, building new things, designing new things, just enjoying our life. And yes, work is a part of it, but it doesn't mean that it has to be until the end. That's not a life well lived. We've got to have some time to enjoy the fruits of our labor. That's just how I feel. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. And also let me know what you think in the comments. I've been tinkering around, because I think I want to do this for fun, because I love to write and I love to create, of starting what is called a snail mail club, where basically, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to start a story. That's one of my ideas. And I will do a monthly snail mail letter to subscribers, and I will start this story, and once a month I'll do a chapter. And in that letter snail mail package, I'm also going to probably include a postcard, um, maybe a little reading list prompt, or maybe a playlist. I don't know. I'm just like tinkering around with ideas. I've been watching some videos and learning some things about this, and it just seems like it would be a fun thing to do, especially for those of us that like to create and want to do something. And I, of course, love old-fashioned mail. I mean, I grew up in the generation of pen pals and all of that fun stuff. So let me guys know what you think about that, if that would be something you might be interested in or not. And yeah, there you go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Please hit that like, and we'll talk soon. Everyone, have a great day. Take care. Bye.